What is going on, everybody? Welcome to week number 3, or as I saw Robbie post earlier, round 3. I really like the sound of that. Round number 3
That's right.
of Feb Romero, which again is us going through the legendary works of George A. Romero. This year it's very small because it was sort of roughly last minute planning, but watch parties for Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and now Day of the Dead. This is the big one, folks. We said that when we were coming up on Dawn, but now that the Dawn is behind us, we're going into the new day.
Absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun. And of the 6 Romero Dead films, this was George Romero's personal favorite. He had this ranked at number 1. He thought this was the best of the 6. So, we could talk about it. You can read reviews from mainstream critics. You can watch any YouTuber that you want review this. But if you're going to take one person's opinion on this movie, to heart, take the opinion and viewpoint of the person that created it, from pen and paper to shooting it, to editing it, to directing it, to delivering it to all of us, George Romero himself.
Damn right. That was very well stated on that, and yeah, there's definitely no arguing with anybody for calling this one their favorite.
Yes.
I mean, again, as Robbie said, George Romero gave it that thumbs up that this is the best. As much as I love Night of the Living Dead, I can't deny the greatness of Day of the Dead. I can't deny the greatness of any of them, honestly.
Yeah, oh, great. Yeah, and I think they
But
all have kind of a different tone to them, which is important. That way they don't really all blend together. And I don't know if this is the best film of the bunch, but there's a lot of parts in this movie that stand out above and beyond the rest of them.
oh
And
yeah,
someone wants to say it's their favorite. I have no problem with that. To me, the 3 that we've covered so far, including Day, are 5 out of 5 for me.
oh yeah, yeah. I could definitely agree with that.
So, I mean, when you're taking 3 films that are at that 5 out of 5 star rating, you're arguing over little things here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like one thing that I kept bringing up. Like I didn't bring it up too much last week because it's been brought up to death. Is the very blue, very gray skin of the zombies and the bright red blood. I know I complained about that a little bit, and that's an example of one of those things. It's just a minuscule, little nitpicks that could arise out of that whole conversation.
You're not going to have complaints about the blood and gore and special effects in this film.
Oh fuck no!
This is just so on point, and I think why this one really stands out is because of the 3 that we've done here. This is gore heavy.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't, at the same time, it doesn't sacrifice characters. It doesn't sacrifice story. It doesn't sacrifice the social political commentary that Romero is known for and interjects. This is just another element in the pot.
Oh yeah.
Without taking anything out. It's not like you're creating a pie chart and you're trying to have everything kind of at an equal base. So you take a little bit away from here, take a little bit away from there, and then enter in the gore. This is just a smorgasbord, a potpourri.
Yep.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And it's just an element that's another one that's in there, and it is really on point. And you have to give credit to Tom Savini.
As one should.
This is Tom Savini's masterpiece in regards to special effects. He's done great work. The original Friday the 13th, the final chapter, part 4, The Prowler, Burning, Maniac, right? So we can do all these things.
Oh yeah.
But Day of the Dead, 1985, that's the home run. That's the home run. And he had with him, working on his crew, Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, who are the ones responsible for K and BFX, who do almost all the big horror stuff, and including Walking Dead on TV. And I know Nicotero has even directed a couple of those episodes. So these guys now who are kind of running the show in regards to horror makeup and special effects got their start primarily behind Tom Savini on this movie.
Right, and that's no better way to come up than like that. Fucking fly on the wings of a master, and then you go and conquer in your own right. That's a success story right there in a lot of ways.
He won the Savini won the Saturn Award for this. He was nominated for the Saturn Award for Dawn. Didn't win it, and maybe some of the goofiness in it hurt him.
Right. Yeah.
Even though there was some good stuff in Dawn with the bodies ripped apart in the apartment scene. But this was the big one, and he won his Saturn Award on that, which is basically, think of Academy Awards specifically for sci-fi and horror. So there you go. But yeah, he peaked with this one, man. He peaked with this one.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
And great crew, great acting. All the actors really did a great job with this. Whether it's Laurie Cardille, who stars as Sarah, whose father we talked about had a role as a news reporter in the original Night. Whether it's Richard Liberty, who plays the mad scientist Dr. Frankenstein, Joe Pilato as Rhodes, Gary Clark, who's just throwing out F-bombs and this, and that throughout the whole movie, but does it in such a good way where he's very memorable. This movie just really hits it out of the park, man.
Yeah, most definitely it does. Yeah, the characters in this one I find are probably second to Night for me, probably the most compelling and easy to get behind bunch of characters.
Yeah, and we can't forget Howard Sherman, who plays Bub, which is probably one of the best zombies.
Oh yeah,
most memorable zombies and sympathetic zombies.
Oh yeah,
such a great job in that role, and it's hard to do that when you don't even have any lines, or not really.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough. What was the word? A tough feat to conquer for sure.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I just want to address the people we got here in the chat.
Go for it.
Let's see, we've got crew member, the one and only. What up, everyone? And these are from a minute back. We got the awesome Miss Shannon. It's good to see you, Shannon. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Love you, baby girl. We got Aiden. Dawn and Day are so great. I go back and forth with both films being my favorite in the series. That's again a very tough a tough one to really decide on sometimes. I find, but
it is. Every time I watch Day, I appreciate it more and more.
Yeah, it was I'd say the grower of the series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has, I know you have the DVD. I am getting the Blu-ray, the Scream Factory Blu-ray. But either way, either of those have a really good commentary track on there with Romero and Tom Savini and Laurie Cardille, who, like we said, stars as Sarah, who give a lot of good insight. I recommend any commentary track for these Romero films. He gets so into it. All of them do. You can tell they had so much fun making these films by the energy that they bring to the commentary tracks.
Oh yeah, it's like that's one thing I really do like. I've listened to a few different commentary tracks on different films. Like I think all the Scream films I did the commentary tracks on, and
that Scream 4 was really weird, right? That's when like Nev Campbell calls in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was like Nev Campbell calls in, and I think Hayden Panettiere had to leave like right before Kirby gets stabbed. It was
Yeah,
what I really liked about it though was just hearing Wes's voice, because Wes is somebody I could listen to talk for hours on end.
Oh, he's got a really good commentary with Sean Cunningham for Last House on the Left.
Yeah, I don't think I checked out the commentary tracks on
Dude,
the
you
copy
gotta
I
check
have for
that
Last
out.
House.
Yeah, that one, and then he does a commentary for Hills Have Eyes as well.
Yeah, I got the I
That's a
think it's
blast.
the is it Arrow? Yeah, I got the Arrow release for Hills Have Eyes, so I definitely need to
Oh,
check that one
the
out.
Blu-ray.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, so do I. All that's yes, that's all on there. That's a great release for that film.
I haven't had a chance to play around with that yet. I've had the thing for like 2 years now, but it's one of those things I saw it and it's like I need this. Like need
Yeah,
is a
you know,
word I don't
sometimes
use.
sometimes you grab those and they're like, should I pay that $40? But you know, if you don't and you check on it in a year from now, that 40 will be 100.
Yeah, dude, I think I got a deal on that because I think it was like 30. Like, I mean, it's not much less, but
Yeah.
like, wait a second, Arrow. I see people talking about these on the internet. Arrow's usually expensive. I'm
Yeah,
grabbing a copy of The Hills Have Eyes for $30.
yeah, you got to grab that. I mean, that's I think a lot of reasons why people grab that new Friday the 13th set that came out from Dream Factory.
Yep.
When that goes out of print, that's gonna be jacked up, man. Just like the Halloween set is. That
Oh
that
yeah. See,
Halloween set's like $400-$500 now.
yeah, that one I missed out on, but I didn't make that mistake when it came to the Friday one. It's like
Same here. Same here.
I need that. I again a word I do not use is need. I don't use it frequently anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like I need water, I need food, I need shelter, but I also need the Friday the 13th box set. Like I need it as much as I need those other things to survive with. But I didn't have that little tin case one that they had a few years back.
I
I
didn't get
couldn't.
that either. I just had the 8 DVD set disc, so I figured I needed the upgrade. But
Yeah,
this
I
is it.
didn't.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna get much better than this.
yeah, I didn't even get that. I like before that. Before I got the box set, all I got still is the standalone different
Yeah.
issues of them.
Did
Like
you did you
for
get the Crystal Lake Memories documentary?
I don't have that at the moment, but
Have you seen it?
yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
I fucking adore that
Yes,
documentary.
and that's something where if you're home all day, you don't have any plans, you can just throw that shit on at 8 o'clock, no, 12 o'clock, noon, and by the
Right.
time it's over, man, it's like dinner's done. You're gonna wrap your day up.
Dude, I used to work at this warehouse. Like it was a donation center, but it was the warehouse wing of it. And I would just be unloading trucks for a good portion of the day, fucking putting stuff away, just listening to that documentary. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is what my life has boiled down to. And it's like, okay, I'm done with that. Still got 4 hours. What am I gonna do? That's when I put on the Nightmare on Elm Street one, Never Sleep Again.
Well, I think both
Like,
were done by the same people, right?
it feels like it. It
Yeah,
very
I
much
think
feels
so. I
like it.
can't confirm. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it is.
The presentation was very similar in the way the chapters were set up on it.
Yeah, they need to do an updated one for Halloween because the newest
Yes.
one was the 25 years later, the 25 years and whatever anniversary.
Yeah, that one. Fuck, I enjoyed that one, but
It's too dated now.
it left me wanting more. Like
Yeah, it was only
even
about 2 hours. I don't even think that.
like even when it was still relevant, like before the Rob Zombie remakes came out, like
Yeah,
it still just didn't.
yeah.
It didn't hit right.
They need like a Crystal Lakes Memories version like that, and they really should do that after this. Not after the Halloween ends is done.
Right. Yeah. Once I got it all wrapped up in a pretty little bow there.
Come out with a ultra box set, the final one with all the movies, and cap it off with the ultimate special feature, a 10-hour, 8-hour, whatever.
Yeah.
Super documentary.
Yeah. I would say that's probably the best thing. I would say that it would have to go for because if you divide it up by the length of the franchise, you kind of get an idea how long the documentary would go for. Because Crystal Lake Memories is what 5 hours.
No, Crystal Lake's Memories was almost 8.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Yeah, it does not feel like almost 8 hours.
almost 8 hours. It was over 7.5.
Wow, that is insane.
Nightmare Nightmare on Elm Street, The Never Sleep Again, was a little over 4, I believe, or just about 4.
Yeah, they definitely got to do like a at least a 3.5, 4, maybe 5 hour.
Oh,
You know what
what's
I'd say?
crazy? What's really crazy? If you have the DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, of the first Rob Zombie Halloween, he has a behind-the-scenes making of documentary for that movie. That's 4 hours.
Yeah, dude, that's another one. Like,
That's crazy. Even if you don't like the movie and you just like films in general, it's really cool to look at the beginning, the starting point of making a film and following it through to the end. Forget about whether you like it or not. That's not the point.
right.
It's just to see the process
Yep.
in such a detailed way. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a long time, but I remember it was super in depth.
Yeah. He does that with a lot of his stuff.
And it's got like I haven't
He's
checked
got a
this.
lot of passion for it. You know,
It's
a lot
like
of people
the
hate on him, but
it's like 30 Days in Hell. I think was the one that he did for Devil's Rejects. Was
yeah,
like that takes up the whole disc too. If you get
yeah,
the 2 disc DVD for it,
yeah.
like I've yet to watch that, but it's like fuck that. Like after having watched the Halloween one, it's like how long is this fucking thing gonna go for?
Yeah,
Like do I have what it takes to sit through this?
that's right. It's I always like all those supplemental like features, like even on outside of the commentary track, for Day, they do have a documentary. I think it's called like The Many Days of the Dead, which even if you
Ooh.
don't have the disc, it's on YouTube.
Definitely check that one out, folks.
The Many Days of the Dead documentary for this movie is on YouTube. The Dead Will Walk documentary is on YouTube for Dawn. I'm pretty sure I know Dawn is on YouTube to watch for free, and I'm pretty sure Day is also. And if not, like there's a lot of places that offer Day of the Dead just to watch for free anyway.
Right. Yeah, I
Tubi
know.
might have it. I know Pluto TV. Pluto TV runs this movie every day.
That's what's
I'm always
up.
kind of checking. There's a few channels that I was kind of poking every once in a while, and one of them's the horror channel. And I kid you not, every single time I turn that channel on, this movie is either playing, was playing before, or it's playing next.
It's like, and it makes you want to stick around. It's like, fuck, I love this movie. I can't go anywhere else.
That's it. And sometimes when you see it on TV, like you have to just kind of watch it, even if it's till the commercial break or something. It's like when the Twilight Zone marathon comes on. I own all those shows on Blu-ray, but if it's on Sci-Fi Channel, like I'll at least watch 1 or 2. So that's it, man. All right, you want to get this going?
Absolutely. So I got my timestamp at 0. Everybody, timestamps at 0. We are going to go on the count of 1, I guess.
Yeah, and you'll see Sarah in a white room against a wall.
Yes. Let's get to that. So we're going to go 3, 2, and 1. There we got Sarah and United Film Distribution Company.
And that was a company that Romero signed a 3-picture deal with after Dawn. And the idea behind that was that the head of the production company said, I'll give you a 3-picture deal. One of them, you got to give me a sequel to Dawn. Do what you got to do. The rest of the other 2 movies, you can do whatever you want. So knowing that, he didn't want to just do another Dawn of the Dead because he had just done that. So he came out with Creepshow and then Night Riders.
Okay.
And then Day was the 3rd. You notice on that calendar, it says it's Halloween.
That is interesting. I was just thinking about that too. I'm like,
and watch here. I want you guys to watch her chest, if you can. There's a hand that's reaching right around her tit. On the commentary track of the film, they mentioned that, like, look, it looks like they're all trying to grab you. That was her husband that actually had that role and grabbed her there as the zombie hand in the dream.
Oh, man.
So there was no hanky-panky, no Me Too stuff going on George Romero's set. That was full consent by Lori Cargill and her husband.
Damn right. noticed that we got a lot of. I don't know. We lit the damn tinderbox talking about Nightmare on Elm Street there very briefly.
Yeah,
Got everyone talking about that Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
love it.
That's a good one to talk about, folks.
Oh man, especially after the terrible Freddy's Dead. That
Yes.
almost killed the entire franchise. And that's why Wes had to do something completely different, because they totally crash and burn.
Right.
I do love that at the end of Dawn, they fly away. And now in the beginning of Day, completely different characters, they're kind of taking over for that role in the helicopter. It's almost like if in Dawn, Peter and Fran flew that helicopter, would this be where they'd be going?
That is a good question. Like, it's tricky to say though, because I know they're in I know they're supposed to be in the
Like
Pennsylvania
the
area somewhere in the Dawn.
And Dawn is in
look,
Pittsburgh. Yeah, this is Florida.
So that's the only part where I get a little
Well, maybe not necessarily in Florida, but maybe in a similar situation.
Yeah, I would say so.
You know, I kind of consider this, like we talked about last time, Night of the Living Dead was the first wave in the night, if it happened in the 60s.
Right.
Dawn was the second wave of the zombie apocalypse, if it happened in 78. And this is the third wave, if it happened in 1985.
And just fucking...
Yeah, this was all shot in Jacksonville, Florida. You're going to see a shot of an alligator here coming down the steps. And if you look really closely, you can actually see the wire around the alligator's mouth.
Huh.
That was just to protect everybody.
Right. I would hope so.
That's not a CGI alligator in 1985. That's just,
Yeah. Like, I honestly thought that maybe it was good puppet work, but
No,
it's like, that thing moves a little too real. I don't see them talking about Jim Henson here in the credits, so
you're gonna see, you'll see here. There's the alligator. You see him, and that was with him with his mouth open there. But there's another scene where you can see it, where it's wrapped around. So you can tell this is definitely third wave. Shit's really hit the fan. There's that famous Dead Walk newspaper, which is seen in one of the seasons of The Walking Dead as a little homage.
No way.
And also, I believe very similar to what's used in Resident Evil, either Resident Evil 1 or 2. And then there's Dr. Tongue.
This is a great shot right here.
Oh, look at that. Oh, the tongue is... if you can't appreciate that makeup, if that doesn't impress you, then I don't know what to... put on a different movie.
Yeah. All I know is I need to get an upgraded copy of this, because when you called him Dr. Tongue and you said, look at that tongue, like, all I see is like a really dark, gory hole in his face.
Copy then.
It's like
you can see that the mouth on the alligator is now closed.
Oh yeah,
because there's a wire around it.
Well, those guys walking behind him, I could tell that those actors were probably nervous. They're like, oh, unless they were the trainers actually on hand, just done up like zombies.
Probably.
That actually sounds like a safer way to go about that.
Yeah.
The co-pilot here, the guy who's always drinking throughout the film, I always forget his name.
Jarlath Conroy?
Is
his name?
He looks like my grandfather. And it's the weirdest
in the movie,
thing.
His name is Bill.
Bill
McDermott. And John is the gentleman next to him. His real name is Terry Alexander, who doesn't have a Jamaican accent in real life. So I didn't even know that until I watched the documentary that's on the DVD, Blu-ray, or YouTube, like we mentioned. And he just had a regular American accent, and then he went into did the voice.
Well, you just broke my heart and shattered my dreams with that statement there.
Me too, brother. That's what happened to me. Now you're on my way to there. The guy flipping the pages that you just saw, that was Greg Nicotero.
I cannot unsee that now.
Yep, and then Tasso, I believe that's Tasso. Tasso is in this movie as well. And why not? I mean, the guys are there doing the makeup effects. They're doing all this stuff.
Right?
You know, it saves the production team. They don't have to hire extra people. I'm sure, you know, they just did it.
What's everybody's thoughts on the Scream franchise? I love all 4 films. The third one is flawed, but it's entertaining. I think I agree with you there, Aiden. Like, I enjoy all 4 of them. The third one definitely does have its problems, but I can fuck with it.
Yeah,
I can tolerate it.
Third one's the weakest. I go 1, 4, 2, 3. 4 and 2 are really close for me. I did like 4 just because I think it gave the franchise time to breathe.
Right.
It was cool to kind of come back to it, and you know, it was Wes's last movie.
Yeah, it was a pretty strong way to go out, I think. For
2010, I think it was 2010, I believe.
Yeah, it would have been filmed in 2010 because I think it came out in 11 because they were doing like the 15th anniversary deal with it.
Okay. Maybe yeah. Yeah, you're right. 2011. So it's, probably filmed in 2010. That would make sense.
Yeah, I remember being super stoked when I heard that they were doing a Scream 4, and this is when I was young, and I was like, yeah, fuck, I want to know everything about it. I don't care if I spoil it for myself, but I want to know everything about this film.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it when Scream first came out. That was a big deal. It's weird. I think it's become one of those things now. It's almost like they're the Nickelback of horror, where it's cool to hate them. People really don't know why. Everyone seems to like hate them, but they make a ton of money. They sell out all the time. Somebody's watching and listening, right?
Yes.
You know, I mean, yeah, that is Nicotero and Tasso. That's funny. Yeah, but it's almost like it's the cool thing to hate Scream now. And they're like, it's too meta. Well, no one ever did that shit before. Like Wes did it a little bit 2 years prior in New Nightmare. Well, did it a lot.
Right.
But this was different. That was different than Scream, though. You know, that was different than Scream. Because that was like a jumping out of the pages thing.
Oh yeah.
What is your timestamp on?
Mine is 9:27.
Okay. Want to make sure I'm good here. I hit the fastest forward button by accident.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, they're standing over the little entry port there.
Okay, cool. That's where I'm at.
Now we got the shot of it coming down.
Yeah, perfect. But yeah, no, Scream was a blast, man. Especially when it first came out. That was a big deal. I was like 12, so I was like in 7th grade.
Yeah,
that was a big deal.
I was 1.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I was around like when that shit was like hitting the theater. Like I remember everyone talking about it. It was a really big deal. It was so big of a deal that in 2000, a bunch of my friends, like we were really into wrestling. Still are. We were into it to the point where like we had our own like backyard wrestling promotion, and that was a big deal back then because this was like when the shit was like at its peak with like The Rock and Stone Cold and everything.
Right.
Every weekend, we ran wrestling shows, and we had characters and did the scripts and did the matches, and people eventually would come out to watch them. And because it was kind of like a tight group of friends, a few of us pulled double duty, and we would have a mask, and we'd be like the mask wrestlers.
Right. Hell
and
yeah.
The other guys had like official like Mexican wrestling masks, but I didn't have that shit. I wrestled in a fucking Scream mask, bro.
Dude.
That was my secondary character. His name was Black Dragon.
Dude, that is fucking hardcore.
Oh, I loved it. It was great. Loved it, man. I got some Scream memorabilia on the wall. I got the mask on the wall, art prints, and good stuff.
There's one thing I know for certain about that Ghostface mask, though. It fucks your peripherals up. And for that reason, I will vouch for the character's overall clumsiness that we see throughout those films.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I actually tried it myself to get an idea. Put the mask on, run around my house, kind of dim the lights. And yeah, you're gonna fucking nick your toe on the end of the couch or coffee table at least 4 times. So don't give me that shit, guys, about Ghostface being a klutz. We all would be. And, real quick, all of you beautiful people watching, be sure to listen to Crew Member right here. Please remember to hit that like button. It helps the channel, and thank you from him and myself.
Absolutely. 100%. Like, share, comment.
Thank you,
all
Shannon.
that fun stuff. Even if you're watching this not live and you're watching it on delay, do it as well.
Especially if you're watching it after the fact.
Yes.
And for those of you watching it after the fact, why didn't you already hit that like button? It's been insert number of days already.
That's right.
Come on.
That is right. This when they filmed this in literally underground tunnels in a cave.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so this is not a set like now, the big budget place now movie you would have it all done on a set. No. Like literally not at all. They would get sick a lot too because they'd be coughing in all the dust and the mold and all that garbage that was there. They would stay at a little motel nearby. And I believe this was done in like a mine in Pennsylvania. The beginning was done in Jacksonville, I think, or it might have been Fort Myers, Florida, in that opening scene. But the rest is in like a mine shaft in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's not really surprising.
Yeah, no. So basically, this mine shaft had been converted into almost like an underground warehouse where they were just holding important documents, I guess, for the state, for the city, which is weird to think, but now everything would be done digitally and electronically. But this was all just paper documents, and they got the rights to film there.
I like that you bring that up too, because I always thought that was a cool little thing that they just included in the movie. I'm like, oh, that's a cool little bit there.
Yeah, and this movie was actually scaled down big time. So the deal with this film is that Romero wrote the script, and it was thick. It was thick, cute. They had so many scenes that were supposed to be done above this whole underground unit.
Right.
But the deal was Romero had a script and said it's going to cost $7 million. And the producer said, large in part, unfortunately, because the 2 movies that he had made prior weren't a huge financial success. Creepshow did fairly well, and of course is very popular. But Night Riders came out, and everyone sees Romero and they want a horror movie, and that's almost kind of like a drama that follows a traveling knights who instead of who are on motorcycles instead of horses.
Yeah,
it's not exactly gonna pop out and do well. So basically, he said, "Here, I need this $7 million," and the producer said, "All right, I'll give you $7 million, but it's got to be R rated. I need more people to go to the theater to see it." And Romero said, I can't do that. This has to be unrated. Back then there was unrated or an X rated.
Right.
So the producer said, listen, fine, I'll give you $3.5 million and you can do whatever you want. So he took that thick, almost phone book length script and had to scale it down big time. Now, a lot of the stuff that he took away was later incorporated into Land.
Okay, yeah. That's always, I guess, that kind of makes sense why I always felt the need to incorporate Land into that, plus the nostalgia that I have for it. It's just, it felt like it did kind of really follow and pick up in the same, feels like it picked up in the same week that this would have taken place. It has that feeling, even though it probably didn't, but
yeah,
there's that solid flow to it.
The effects here are so good. Ugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw a few shots back, you could actually see the breath of these actors down here in the mine.
Yeah, and
Like you
that's
could
not
just
there's not much digital stuff for post things like that done. I mean, the only noticeable stuff that really was kind of added post production as far as like on screen graphics is the gunshots like in the distance you'll see, and they do
okay.
they and that doesn't look that great. I mean, Romero laughs about it on the commentary and says they look like little daisies, like daisy flowers. But all the characters here are so good. Ugh. That the bigger guy here, you'll see Gary. It's Gary Clark. He's the one that's gonna scream and yell. Walter Steele is his name, Steele. But Sarah here, this is an interesting relationship because essentially that was her boyfriend, this guy Miguel, but
Right.
he can't handle it. He's losing it. He has no. I hate to even say toughness. Mentally he's just broken, and Sarah's trying to keep it together for him, for her, and everybody on her side of the aisle, and he just can't. Listen. I think this is an accurate description of what would happen in a situation like that. Some people are going to have it in them that they can stand up and fight and move forward. It doesn't make them better than the other people. It's just some people are just wired different or whatnot. And Miguel,
Right.
Miguel here, you can see hits Sarah, but he doesn't mean it. You can tell he's just he's a fucking mess. And what great acting on Sarah, because she wants to stay strong and she wants to sedate him, but she feels terrible. But
Yeah, that was
you're gonna see,
very strong performance here.
yeah, you're gonna see later on involving Miguel here. You will see some really good effects from Savini, and we'll get into it, and we will talk about how it was done. So, yeah, a great job. John Amplis, that's Martin. That's the fake Puerto Rican in Dawn. That's the father grave zombie in Creepshow with the big mustache. That is Martin, John Amplis.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that is Joe Pilato Rhodes, one of the biggest assholes in the history of movies.
All right. Like I've heard that he was one of the nicest guys you could meet on the convention circuit too, despite his character
Too,
here.
Yeah. And later in life when you saw him in the interviews, he would always have real like slick back long hair. He was always wearing like a leather jacket, shit like that.
Yeah, he definitely had that cool guy vibe.
And this is gonna be very reminiscent of Night, where you have your amped up, of course. Rhodes is kind of like the Cooper, where
Yep.
he's the asshole, just in a different way. And Sarah and her rest of her team are Ben. Sarah and her team would be upstairs with Ben.
Right.
And Rhodes would either be locked in the basement with Harry, or fighting upstairs and trying to take control and get Ben out of there.
Yeah, he'd
Definitely on the negative side.
definitely see that Rhodes, if he was in the Knight situation, he would definitely be trying to
get Ben out.
He would add to putting Ben against Cooper.
Yeah.
He would do the Siamese fighting fish method, have the enemies fight off, then you take control after one wins,
It's also an interesting thing here where they touch on it briefly, so they acknowledge it. But these people are down here for like a year, 2 years. What do you know? What do you notice about this cast? Why does Sarah stand out of all the people that are here?
One being the only lady there.
Oh, that's it. Boom, that's the thing. And you have guys like this, Steele, who are making sexual jokes, humor. That Sarah's very lucky that she had some friends that she can rely on.
Right.
Male friends. Because if they weren't there, Rhodes and Steele and what's this? Rickles, I believe is this guy's name. They would, unfortunately, at some point, you would think, take advantage of her.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening if she didn't have friends there.
Absolutely, yes.
Chris Snyder, welcome to the show, buddy.
Chris, all right. I'll be with Chris in 2 days. 2 days.
We all got you running in circles here, huh? We got a crew member says, not sure if I like Miguel as a character or his acting in this film. Just my opinion.
I think a lot of it, I think it's more the character. I think the actor did a good job conveying what Romero wanted to put through. Somebody who has lost his shit and can't keep it together. And if any of us were in that situation where we were around that person, oh man, we wouldn't be able to take it. But here we have to talk about Richard Liberty, who was previously in George Romero's The Crazies. He played a character in that who became one of the Crazies and actually killed himself after he molested his daughter.
Wow.
And he was caught doing it and freaked out, and he was like in this kind of hybrid craziness, and he just took his own life. But here he's Dr. Frankenstein.
I fucking love this character. I was
Dr.
actually
Logan, Dr. Frankenstein. I love this gore shot.
I was talking to Shannon about this fucking character, about Dr. Frankenstein and Bub right before we went live for a little bit. Like, yeah, this one's really fun, and it's got a really great subplot with a zombie and a doctor. You got to check it out. It's trying to make him human again and make him remember his humanity. And I was going into it like really freaking nerdy.
Big time. You'll see here in a moment when that zombie tries to sit up. Do you remember what happens there? Offhand?
If I remember correctly, I think I have an idea what happens.
All right, we'll let that unfold.
Because I don't think Shannon has seen this one, and I'm pretty sure she's watching along.
Yeah, and so this one, it turns out, you'll see they're going to cut to this guy's medical bag or his bag, whatnot. And this actually turns out to be one of the old sergeants that died. And he was able to convince somebody that are working there to put a bunch of another zombie in that grave and give him the body of the sergeant so he could experiment. That's why Sarah freaks out and says, they find out, if Rhodes finds out that one of his men is getting operated on, how do you think he would react to the Dr. Frankenstein here? Probably not very good.
Right. I had a funny thought. When Flyboy and Peter find the money in the mall, they could have kept that money and buy themselves an apartment in Fiddler's Green.
Maybe if they were around 40 years later, 30 years later.
That's a great way to try and connect the continuity there, though, for sure.
That's right. They would have had enough, maybe.
Oh, man. Yeah, Fiddler's Green, though. We'll talk about Fiddler's Green next week.
Yes.
I was about to start going into that. It's like, no, you can wait.
Land is underrated. I'll leave it at that.
Highly.
I think it hurt. I got hurt by the Dawn remake. Yeah.
Which I will say is a great film too, but
it's different. I always look at the Dawn remake as like it's a fun action horror movie. Go in, shut your brain off, have fun.
Yeah, it definitely works for that.
Yeah.
Definitely works as
mindless
popcorn.
A film like Land has action in it, but see there it says Private Cooper or Sergeant Cooper. That's what she realizes that that is one of them. But yeah, no. So Land is a little. It's like the rest of Romero's films. They have action in it, but it slows down. It's got more character. It's got a little more depth, a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crew has been catching up on some 70s horror that he missed for the show that you and Chris got coming up. So he's going to be getting well informed on that. Oh, yep. That's exactly what I thought was happening there.
There
Fucking
it
love
is.
that.
Look, the way the guts smack on the floor. Ooh. All practical too, folks. That's not computerized CGI after.
Like if they had done computer stuff with that, it would have looked like if you filleted Max Headroom, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I just cannot unsee my grandpa there though. Jesus Christ.
Man.
I can't help but think of John Goodman from The Big Lebowski whenever this guy's on screen, though.
Yeah, Gary Clark. Yeah.
It's like,
Steel.
what? It's like all I see is fucking Walter.
He's such an asshole in this movie, but like in a great way.
Oh yeah,
he really does. He does a good job, man. Jeez.
I'd say he's definitely the most entertaining out of the Army Dicks.
Yeah, he stands out for sure. He passed away probably about a year or two ago, unfortunately.
I did not know that. I know Joe Pilato passed away.
Yeah, Joe Pilato
also
passed away, about 2 years ago, I think. And then I'm going to look up Gary Clark here, who plays Steel. He died. Oh, jeez. New Year's Eve. It's past New Year's Eve.
Damn.
He only died 2 months ago. Not even.
Is that how long you've been cooped up inside down there, Robbie? Feels like 2 years gone by in the last 2 months.
That's it.
Oh, man.
The bantering back and forth between both these sides, it's just so good. A lot of times when you have a film like this, you have to have quality actors, especially in a zombie movie, because people want to be entertained. They want to get to the gore. So in between those moments, if you don't put something of quality on screen, you're going to lose the audience very quickly.
Yeah, most definitely. Here's where the banter's just getting to that almost unbearable point there.
Talking about how he's got the Mexican. He's like, oh, she's got that yellow. He's got that yellow dick.
Yeah, I think so, crew. I think they used pig intestines in this one, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so I'm gonna save it for later. I'm gonna save the story for a little bit later.
we can't unleash all the good stuff right now.
Yeah,
but
all the good stuff. You have to stick around the whole stream here.
Yes.
I got to tease you a little. Got to give you a little foreplay here. Can't.
We're not gonna do that Friday the 13th remake shit here. Give you all the good stuff in the top quarter and then slowly fizzle.
Yeah.
It'll still be quality, but it'll fizzle if we give you all the goods right now.
That shot of Rhodes with the gun, I feel like that screenshot is something that I see posted all the time.
Yeah. Anytime someone's talking about them.
To something, yeah.
It's like anytime this movie comes up or assholes in movies and somebody just drops him as a picture, that's usually the one.
Yeah. Basically threatening to kill some of her friends here if she doesn't sit her ass down.
It's pretty fucking demented, man.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta. Romero never puts a timestamp on it, but you gotta assume that they've been here for at least 2-3 years, right? Or at least something around that. I mean, at least a good year and change. It's not just a few months, that's for sure.
Like one of the big giveaways on that is just the mental deterioration of a third of the characters in here. I mean,
Yes.
I could imagine Rhodes was always kind of a bit of a prick, like maybe kind of a decent guy before all this shit went down, but still a prick nonetheless. You could see he's just lost it, gone power mad.
Yeah.
With Miguel, he's clearly at the breaking point. Maybe
Yes.
he left the breaking point a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone in this kind of has that little bit of a Dr. Frankenstein, for example.
I love the he's like oblivious to shit, even when Rhodes is freaking out. So like you're gonna see in this scene where I believe it's the scene where he's like asking what's for dinner, and Rhodes is like screaming and hollering at him, and he's just, I said, what's for dinner?
It's freaking entertaining, man.
Scene, right?
I think so.
Here it is. Is there food?
Let me bring you up to date on what's been. Excuse me. Is there food?
All right, hell yeah.
I love that's the Joe Pilato, that's the Rhodes quote. I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck are you doing with my time? I love that line. That's so good. That's so good.
Exactly, Aiden. Exactly.
And Dr. Frankenstein just like, is there food? I'm fucking hungry, bro. I'm like, he's like, I've been dissecting one of your buddies in my scientist cave over here. I want something to eat.
Definitely.
And I love how he so like nonchalantly and calmly calls Rhodes out on this bullshit. He's like, I want to get out of here and blow the piss out of all these undead fucks or whatever. And he's like, really? You and like your 5 friends are gonna blow the piss out of all of them all over the world?
Like you said, he's oblivious, but he's pretty down to earth, even though he's probably lost some marbles along the way. It's like half there, half not there. I feel like he should have his own movie, though. Another one of those fun little spin-offs.
The whole thing is that, Dr. Frankenstein is just trying to figure out why these zombies are reanimating, what's getting them to behave in the way that they are.
Right.
And that's kind of the gist of it. He wants to go further and wants to know, could we kind of contain them?
Right.
Almost keep
reintegrate them.
Yeah. Where, of course, Rhodes, like, Frankenstein knows that Rhodes doesn't give a shit about that. He just wants to blow them all up. So that's why he can't really talk too much about what's going on.
Right.
And that's what the big conflict is here. Like, Rhodes is like, are you going to come up with answers? Or, like, because, Rhodes just wants to get the fuck out of here.
Rhodes is definitely an interesting personality, and I really do like the conflict there with him and Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's like, you could tell that there's definitely that 2 totally different schools of thought for the 2.
Yes, and you have to have that.
It's like upstairs, downstairs 2.0.
Yeah. And this is such a good scene, and like I get it, because it is long. It's a bit lengthy. But because the performances are so strong and really at times so over the top. I mean, Pilato's performance is crazy over the top, but it works. It works within the context. Like, you can't sit there and say, well, just calm down, dude. Like, really? Calm down? Like, this dude's been in an underground bunker for a year or whatever, while people from the ground are coming up and killing everybody, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Like the guy's hanging out with a bunch of like meatheads, hasn't gotten ass in like who knows how long. Like that'll drive a man totally crazy.
We will scale fucking walls.
Dude, I would have ran out and jumped into a pile of zombies by now. If it was like female zombies, I'd dive for like fucking dick first.
Just ready and willing, like,
That's
ladies, open up. Holy shit, yeah, man.
Yeah, my luck, they'd probably just turn around and run the other way. Maybe they turn into ghosts and ignore me.
Oh man. Like that's just like, even though that's a totally hypothetical situation, I feel the sadness that would be felt in that situation. Like,
yeah,
damn. It's like, oh man.
Here's a good question by Aiden. Is Day of the Dead Romero's final masterpiece? Well, what is your definition of a masterpiece, right?
Exactly.
Do you put Land on the same pedestal as the first three? I don't. I think it's great. To me, these first three are 5 out of 5s. I put Land like 4 out of 5. Not quite there, but that doesn't mean it's bad. He did some really good stuff after this. I don't think people talk about enough. Bruiser is excellent and needs more attention. The Dark Half is pretty solid. Monkey Shines is a very interesting film. So there was a lot of things after this. Here's another.
That's almost a blink and you miss it moment, folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was some more fucking beautiful work right there.
Yeah, I mean, Day was probably Romero's last film that, the consensus is that would be great. I would hesitate to validate that, but I can understand why. I think by the time Day came out, Romero unfortunately became typecast in a way that he wished he never did. Like when he first got into movies, he didn't want to be known as a horror director.
Right.
That's why he did There's Always Vanilla. Even like Season of the Witch it's a horror movie, but it's not zombies and monsters and slashers, things like that. Like he didn't want to be known as a horror guy. And unfortunately, not only did he become known as the horror guy, he got typecast into a subgenre. That's even worse. You're really isolating yourself down. And I think he's so much better than that. And I think when people talk about like the great directors of the time, like growing up, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, George Romero, Tobe Hooper, David Cronenberg, like those are the names that get thrown out. I think I always see people arguing Carpenter, Craven, slightly lower probably Hooper. Cronenberg not as much these days because he went on to do so many other movies outside of the horror genre, like Eastern Promises and History of Violence and stuff like that. But I think George Romero does not get enough respect put on his name. Because when people think of John Carpenter, they go, oh, Halloween, The Thing, The Fog, Big Trouble, Little China,
Precinct 13.
Yeah, like whatever, right? And then like when people think of Wes Craven, it's boom, Nightmare on Elm Street, Last House, Hills Have Eyes, People Under the Stairs, whatever, right?
Right.
And then people think George Romero, they go, the zombie guy.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, I wish they would say, oh, the zombie movies, but also Martin, Bruiser, Dark Half, The Crazies. Boom, 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 right?
And if you don't like that, folks, well, there's always Vanilla.
Oh, there you go.
That
With my lady.
that I think has become the a
Judith
running
Riley.
gag throughout this series.
Judith Riley. If I ever hop into a DeLorean and go back in time, I'm gonna have a baby with her. That's it. In
It's
between in between filming of Night and There's Always Vanilla, baby time.
It's like just the rest of the world wakes up and it's like something feels off. Don't know what it is, but something feels off.
That's it. And I'll like fast forward back to present day, and I'll have a daughter who's older than me, or a son older than me.
Would you do the would you take the hot tub time machine approach and try to manipulate your knowledge of the future?
No. I think I would just go like Back to the Future style.
Just fuck around a little bit and
yeah. It's still like an almanac.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would use my knowledges of the future. I would
go to Vegas in like 2001 and be like, in 20 years from now, I want to bet that Tom Brady's gonna win 7 Super Bowls, and they're gonna be like, bullshit, this motherfucker has done nothing. He was drafted in the 6th round, and I'd be like, well, I'm just putting up $1,000. How much can I get in return? And then fast forward, and I'd be like the world's richest person.
It's like, can I drop an interest accumulation on this? Can this bet pack interest over years?
This is a nice moment here because they are now away from Rhodes and his goons.
Yeah, you definitely feel it too. You feel a sense of relief.
Yes, the tension level is. So it's John, that's the helicopter guy. You can tell she's so comfortable with him, and they're just friends. And I love their setup that looks like they're on the beach, which is it's a great foreshadowing for the end of the movie.
Yep. Yeah, dude, I feel at ease during this scene too. Yes. It's like I would go down there even if I was one of the army guys, I would go down there and just hang out with John. Like,
yeah, well,
it's a nice getaway.
He's very calming. His voice, his tone is just it, and it's necessary because even though that was a very long take with dialogue, it was very intense. You know, whether it's specifically with Rhodes screaming and hollering,
right?
So you need to bring it down. You have to bring it down here.
Yes, Aiden adds on that Toby Hooper is the only filmmaker of those masters who just wanted to make horror films.
Yeah, I mean John Carpenter.
Carpenter wanted to do westerns, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Like he wanted to be the western guy.
Yeah. A lot of these guys just get started. Back then it was just making a horror movie's cheap, and
it's like gives
expensive. It's low risk.
Gives you a little bit of name recognition.
Yeah. Thing about Hooper though, like he peaked really early.
Right.
His later stuff, not to be disrespectful, is I think probably has the harshest downturn of any of those directors we talked about.
Yeah, I'd say for like some of the others, they fizzle a little bit in the middle, but they come back strong, and they kind of have a little roller coaster of critical and
even if they don't
fan success.
Even if they don't reach their peak and that it wasn't early on, like it's still quality.
Oh yeah.
Toby Hooper, he was doing stuff like the Mangler, like the fucking killing laundry press machine. And you ever see that one?
I have not.
Yeah, it's literally like there's a laundry press factory, and if I remember correctly, like Robert Englund is like the boss, and he's a dick, and like people are getting killed and eaten by like a laundry press machine.
That sounds like something that would be straight to freaking DVD today.
Pretty terrible. I think they made 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
Then he redid like Toolbox Murders, and it's just just didn't, he never had that back half. But what he did in the early on, man, listen, Texas Chainsaw Alone, right?
Oh yeah.
Eaten Alive is really cool too. With the crocodile in the hotel.
I've heard of that one, but I haven't seen
that's
it.
got a very young Robert Englund.
Huh.
Yeah, and then of course Texas Chainsaw 2, which is I think it's fun. I don't think it's nearly as good as the original, but it's fun because it's totally different in tone. It's a fun time though. It's wild.
I freaking adore that one.
Like a movie like that, like you have to erase your expectations and memories of the first one and just go into the film and have a nice time with it. And then you'll be okay. If you want to see like the same thing that you saw in the first one, just like a continuation, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and even then I don't think you won't really find that until about the 2003 remake, I feel. Like 3 kind of goes back to that seriousness, but
3 definitely goes back serious wise. But as far as being like by the time 3 came out, I was gutted so much by the MPAA, and that was in like 89, 90.
Yeah,
so about 90. So by that time, like the horror boom of the 80s was done.
I have a whole video actually that I plan on doing one of these days about fucking slashers and horror in general from that period. Because like anytime I've talked about movies that come out in 1989, I always make it a point to mention just how neutered they've become with the MPAA, just slicing them up.
87 through like early 90s, it's rough stuff. I kind of like watch a lot of those movies on a curve.
Right.
Just knowing that, here's some good stuff here.
Real quick, we got a crew member says the Funhouse, and Aiden says Salem's Lot and Life Force also. Yeah, I guess Hooper did have some good stuff.
A lot of that's early on now, right?
Yep.
70s into the early 80s. And also 2 Poltergeist.
Yeah, I was just about to say that there's also the great debate.
Yeah,
of Poltergeist.
Tobe Hooper made that movie. I think Steven Spielberg was just a producer that had some influence, but there's never been any confirmation that Spielberg was on set directing things.
Right. That's a whole other topic in and of itself.
Yeah. I just love the evolution of the stories that he's trying to tell. Which now it kind of got to the point now where it's almost, they're trying to keep them as pets and, guinea pigs, so to speak.
Right.
to punish the zombie, turns the light off. If I remember right?
Yep. Think about it.
Yeah. That's funny.
And that's another reason why I definitely include Land in the saga, is because it does take that next step. Again, we'll talk about that more next week.
Yep.
But I just had to throw that out there since it was brought up. I think progression.
I'll put, to answer that earlier question, masterpieces, that's difficult to define, because I think everyone's definition of what that is different. But I think his last film that should be kind of held high is Land. There's some good stuff to enjoy in Diary and Survival, but it's not on the level, in my opinion. Land that's the one. And it's just a bummer to me that 2001 comes out, Bruiser gets released, and that's the last movie he ever made that didn't have zombies in it because he couldn't get the funding. And it's just so frustrating to me because there's so much more to him than just the zombie movies.
Right.
And I love them. Zombies are one of my favorite subgenres, and it's because of Romero. I love that he put down the Salem's Lot book.
Yep.
That's like just an Easter egg because he loves Stephen King. And remember, this was made just, 4 years after Creepshow? Creepshow, I think, was 81.
Yeah,
This is
that
85.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Him and Romero, good friends. Oh, no, not Bob. Not your damn face. You're going to cut your face off here.
Fucking love Bub.
And what a great job by the actor, Howard Sherman. Oh, look at that, the cutting of it. But see, the memory, like we talked about, why are the zombies going to the farmhouse? Why are the zombies going to the mall? Why does Bub remember that razor is for his face? If you took anyone who had no idea what a razor was and you put a razor down in front of them, why would you automatically think it should be for doing this?
Right.
Memory is there. And same thing like with the book. Like, he's opened the book. What is this? You know.
I'll get another great one whenever he does see Rhodes for the first time.
That's right.
Crew did a quick fact check for us. Creepshow was 82.
All right.
Thank you, Crew.
So filmed in 81.
Yes. I love Toby Hooper's Crocodile. It's a Friday the 13th movie with a giant crocodile, plus it has heart to it, says Aiden.
Oh, yes, and a shout out to the Body Bag. I love Body Bags, one of my favorite anthologies, and Hooper did direct the eye segment, yeah. My favorite is the gas station segment. Did you ever see Body Bag?
I have not.
Dude, get on that. Free all over the internet.
Like, I know that
John Carpenter plays like the host, like in the Crypt Keeper role. He's like a dead body in the morgue, and he kind of like will say, all right, this body, you want to know what happened to this body? And then boom, the story.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, so over the top, and
it's like, real quick,
Wes Craven makes an appearance in it, and is a lot of cool stuff.
Oh,
the
fun.
eye segment is starring Mark Hamill.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a baseball player who gets hit in the eye and is going to go blind and lose his career while he's like one of the best players in the league, but he gets an eye transplant to save himself, but the eye is of a serial killer. And the memories of the eye change him. Okay,
yeah. See, I like stories that kind of take that angle. Like, you get like the brain or something of some psychotic person, and it starts changing your personality a little bit. Like,
yeah,
I think there was a Treehouse of Horror episode of The Simpsons, I think, where Snake, the resident goon of Springfield, gets executed, and they do a scalp transplant and give.
Here's the meeting with
Rosebud to Homer. Yep. But yeah, that was a interesting episode. I remember because fucking Homer starts turning all crazy and tries to kill Bart a couple times because it's like the roots of Snake's hair, I guess, like went down into his brain, if I remember correctly, and was like, okay, I'm evil Homer now. There we go. That was fucking great.
That's it.
You can feel Rhodes' tension now.
Yeah. You can tell he's uneasy. He's not pleased right now.
You notice there was no magazine in there.
Yeah.
Fucking,
he's not going to need it. If I remember correctly, too, Bub was in Walking Dead for an episode.
I think you said something about
Yeah,
that once.
they brought the actor back, and they just redid his makeup. And I stopped watching in season 7, but regardless, it's fun that because the people behind the scenes that on Walking Dead got their start in these Romero films, they kind of throw some homages his way. Then that's respectful. I like that.
Vampires is one I definitely want to see. See the chat's talking about that one.
Carpenter?
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. Pretty solid. You also mentioned Ghost of Mars. I actually watched that for the first time last year. We had a lot of time on our hands, so
I picked that one up on VHS, but haven't watched it yet. The collector in me had to grab it. Like, oh, that's a Carpenter film. I need to grab that.
Yeah, I kind of did a lot of directorial binges. So I kind of filled in any gap I had of any Carpenter stuff, Argento stuff. Before last year, I had seen like 1 or 2 movies from Brian De Palma, and now I own like 20 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I watched Dressed to Kill, and I was like, I got to watch all of this guy's movies.
Yeah, I know. I think the 2 that I think of the most when it comes to De Palma is, of course, Carrie.
Yeah.
Untouchables and Scarface.
Yeah, I had the first time I ever saw Scarface last year.
Really?
Oh, that's a 5 out of 5, man. That was the best movie I saw last year.
Dude.
There was so many movies I watched the first time last year. Deer Hunter.
Yeah, that one I still need to see.
Deliverance.
Yeah,
Apocalypse Now.
Yep, those are all 3 on my watch list right now.
Great stuff, bro.
I think Deer Hunter's the only one.
Here's some good shit going down here.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Ugh. Miguel has lost it, and unfortunately, boom! Look at that good. Look at that gore. Look at that bite. And he's completely gone now. And here's gonna look at the way that blood's coming out of his neck. How great is that, right?
It's fucking great.
It looks real, man.
Got that little bit over the hand. Just pouring over.
Ugh, tough stuff.
All right, 2 things that really stand out in that last shot, aside from the gunshot, are going to be, again, the way you can see the breath in the air.
Yeah. And
just the look of a really broken person in Steele's face there.
Bingo. What we talked about earlier about the special effects. I want to look at the arm here.
Yep.
Okay. So that's his arm. That's his arm, right? Okay. In that shot there, his arm is underneath the floorboard. Coming up in a second. That shot there where you see her pressing over his arm, that's his real arm, and the knife just has a cut in it. So it looks like it's being moved over. But this shot here, his arm is under a floorboard, and then that's a fake arm over it.
Yeah.
So you see, so the knife, if you have a knife here, but it's cut into, so it can be placed over the arm.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I know Savini definitely incorporated a lot, and a lot of special effects guys did, but that's a trick Savini was really big on.
Look at that. Ugh. So I get at this point, now this makes it canon, right? That if you get bit, you have at least a short window to remove that part before it flows to the rest of your body and infects you. So theoretically, that could have happened to Roger if they did it fast enough.
Oh yeah,
because he was bit on the leg. He was also bit on the arm, right? The arm and the leg.
I can't remember if he got it in the arm, but I know he definitely got it in the leg.
Yeah. It was the leg. So theoretically, they could have amputated one of his legs and saved him.
It's like, wonder if Peter knew how to safely and hygienically conduct an amputation.
I don't know. Maybe he was either like, was he like strictly just an abortion doctor, or could he just do it all?
Right? It's like
his confidence in performing an abortion was off the charts. He's like, I know how.
It's like
I've done this shit a lot.
It works. It works for the time, but when you really think about it, it's like that's something you almost don't even really think about, but it's really disturbing to some degree when you like stop and think about it. Like you said, his confidence level there. I know how to do it. Like he's not gloating about it, but he's just like very.
No, it was so nonchalant. It's like, yeah, like I had to do an abortion. Like shit, like who doesn't? Like I know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
This is when shit's starting to really kind of hit the fan here.
Oh yeah, yeah. The mistrust is really starting to.
That's what Romero said. That's what Romero, when he wrote the script, that's what he wrote it out of. It was mistrust of people, but in particular, like larger institutions,
right?
Government,
like
military.
Lack of, it was like a lack of openness and communication.
Yeah,
I think it was like one of the things that really sets up that mistrust.
Yeah.
And it's something you totally see all over this film.
Well, I mean, this is mid 80s. You know, what was going on in the government at that time? It's, you know, the rich are getting richer, the poor are staying poorer. Everybody, you know, all the people in the government, you know, that are in power and the president are making excuses to continue to isolate money to the few at the top and give every excuse in the world why it'll eventually come trickle down to you, you know.
Right.
Questionable stuff going on with the military, and all of that was at the root of this movie. Like that's what this movie's about. It's not about zombies.
Yeah.
It's about distrust and conflict with people and people in power.
It's funny too, because I think this came out like right before some of the big shit that the military was doing with in association with the CIA, the whole Contra affair.
Yeah.
I know that was going on around this time, but I don't think it had really hit the public consciousness just yet. So it's like Romero's almost forward thinking to some degree too here.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I mean, this movie came out in July of '85, so I mean it's really close.
I think
I'm actually gonna look. Iran Contra. It's really close.
Off the top of my head, I want to say that was like 87.
Okay, this movie came out in July of '85, and everything started with Iran Contra in August of '85 until '87.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this
was literally like all the stuff that was like leading up to it. Yeah. But also too, but we have to bring something else up before we forget. So this movie comes out in '85. Didn't do really well, and it came out in like July of '85, and then within like August or so, it started to circulate more, but it didn't really do very well in the box office. A lot of people wanted it to be another fun Dawn, and it's not. It's a lot darker. It's a lot more serious.
Oh
and
yeah.
I think people that wanted to have a little bit like that have that fun, they just didn't get it out of this. 1 month later, literally like 4 weeks after Day was released into theaters, Return of the Living Dead comes out in theaters. That didn't do particularly great either, but it did take a lot of juice out of it because now you have two competing zombie movies. And It's not like zombie movies were a dime a dozen like they are now. So to have two of them out in the theater at the same time, like that's going to hurt both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And also, this year was the same year that Reanimator came out, which is basically a zombie movie.
Yep. Oh, God. That is crazy to think about. It's like you look at it on paper, like, yeah, of course that came out in the same year, but
when you think of it that way, like that hurts all of them.
Like first, like being like not around and just looking at it at face value, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But you really think of it like you put it there, it's like, yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's going to hurt multiple wallets.
especially when you're doing it within 4 weeks. Like, that's nothing. Especially back then, like movies were in theaters longer. They would start smaller and then kind of build up and go wide.
Right.
So like it hurt. Like Day made its money, like many other like horror movies of the day, like on the VHS side on video rentals.
Right.
Like that's where movies got like made their big bucks. Ooh, look at that! Like these like little, almost like kids, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like for sure.
Rough stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I'm sure there was a lot of personal issues going on too, because Return of the Living Dead was written by John Russo, who produced by him as well, who helped write Night of the Living Dead. So, you know, you're kind of competing with your former co-worker, friend, creative partner.
Almost makes it sound like it was a project out of spite.
Yeah.
Definitely gotta
That's tough
take a
stuff.
minute to appreciate the little homage, though.
And look at that, Greg Nicotero.
This is like the second time I think
Look
his
at
face
that.
has been duplicated on film. It's like
Look at that. That's great though, isn't it?
it is, man. But real quick, I almost don't see the connection with his face and the Halloween 5 mask.
Neither do I.
I try to see it, but I don't see it. Everyone says
I try
it's
not to think of the
his
Halloween
face.
5 mask. I hate it.
Yeah, it's
That weird neck, and it's got a pointy like Michael Jackson nose.
yeah, it's one that I cannot defend. I defend the Halloween 4 mask. I have very specific reasoning for that. It's like you're not going to find the same freaking exact mold of the mask that was produced 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
where did he get the mask? At the convenience store, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do you think the convenience store? And I just thought of this now. A convenience store is not going to have the best quality masks.
Exactly.
It's not like he broke into fucking Trick or Treat Studios.
That is true.
Now I mean, I don't think they had a good mask again until 6.
Dude, I fucking loved the 6 mask.
Yes.
I loved Halloween 6 all around that.
Me too. I love 6. I'm a producer's cut guy. I feel like the story. No, okay. Here's the thing. I actually wrote an article on that. You can go to entertainmentchronicle.com and look up Robby Sobel. You'll find I have an article, the 10 reasons why the producer's cut's better than the theatrical of Halloween 6. And I'm a legit Halloween 6 fan.
There we go.
Right, Curse of the Thorn. So the story is just better. Like they chop that shit down, and I think also Halloween 6, the theatrical cut has it's too much like a 90s rock feel to it. A lot of the music.
Yeah.
Nothing against the music itself, but like I want Halloween music like in the movie. But back to this one, like this is such a great scene when Bub is listening and has the Mozart on the headphones. And he's trying to teach him how to press play and record and style or whatever. Yeah, that's such a great moment because it's showing that he's learning.
I like that. Here's where Frankenstein is a tricky character here. It's like his intentions are good.
Yeah.
But his methods of going about it are slightly questionable.
Yes. He's a little too erratic, and he's not organized, and a lot of stuff for him is he doesn't know when to kind of tone it down, especially the way in his presentation to a lot of people, he comes across as like a crazy madman and not like calm and cool. So like if I'm Laurie, I'm sorry, Sarah and the rest of the people, and I want to be reassured that everything's going well, the way Dr. Frankenstein is delivering his method and his explanations are not making me feel comfortable. It's making me feel more worried.
Oh yeah. It's like, could this man be about to slip and absolutely go fucking berserk?
Yeah.
But we don't have to worry about that possibility anymore, folks. And here, as much as you fucking hate Rhodes, you kind of get where he's coming from at this point. Like,
Yeah, because I'm looking now. If you're him here, and you'll see like that's his friends that are in the cooler, and he knows that he's feeding his friends to the fucking zombie. And there he goes. You have to think though that like that would happen, right?
oh yeah. It's like not a real surprise, but it's like, yeah, I might have overreacted just a teensy bit, Rhodes. But I feel like he would have been a great fucking backup villain in a Bond film.
Yeah. Poor Miguel, he's fucked. Now you have no arm.
Can't remember if it shows a stump, but that I remember being a really good looking effect if it is in here.
Yeah, I think they show it, but I think it's just wrapped.
I hope.
We're getting to like the last part of the movie here, though.
Oh yeah. Quick, I gotta go use the restroom before this movie starts getting real crazy.
Go for it, brother. Hold down the fort.
All right, just keep the people entertained.
You got it, brother. And that character there with the mustache and the goatee we mentioned earlier is John Amplis. He starred in Romero's vampire film called Martin. We've mentioned that a few times. Highly recommended. So when we were talking about Romero being pigeonholed to just being a zombie director, that's a movie that I'd probably point out above anything else that he's done, not involved with the zombie subgenre. You can find that on YouTube for free, so no excuse not to watch it. Shit's hitting the fan here, though. You know, Rhodes and his team are they're not having any more compassion. Completely just taking the rest of this crew hostage, and they just want to get out of here. They're done with it. They're tired of it. Cabin fever, so to speak. They're just ready to go. Oh, brains blown out. You know, how do you keep it together if you're Sarah and the rest of her team here? Seeing one of your really good friends that you've probably become even closer with more and more. You know, when you're in a tough situation with people, you know, you'll bond closer. So having her see him have his brains blown out that's a devastating thing to witness. Don't worry though, karma's going to come Rhodes' way. That's kind of their whole barricade that they had, keeping the zombies out. But you know, Rhodes and his team can just leave, but he's a super dick, so he's not going to just, you know, leave and keep them in a situation where they'll be safe. He's basically going to just feed them to the zombies in the same way Dr. Frankenstein fed his fellow soldiers to Bub and the rest of his undead guinea pigs. Welcome back, my man.
Thank you.
You missed my striptease.
Oh man.
That's fine.
Yeah, I could tell there was something. 2 comments saying Robby is the man.
Well, who's going to argue with that?
Did he get manly with you guys?
Yeah, I gave a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
And I knew I should have took my phone to the bathroom with me.
You really should, man. You know, live and learn, though.
Damn right. Every day is another live and learn bit.
That. Uh-oh.
Rhodes is such a fucking prick.
Well, yeah, like I was just telling them that basically Rhodes threw them there to feed them to the zombies, just in the same way that Dr. Frankenstein fed his undead or his dead soldiers' friends to Bub and them. But the difference being those guys had already been killed. He just took someone who was already dead and fed them, as opposed to people who were already alive. But Rhodes, obviously couldn't give a shit about that.
Right. Good looking out, crew. Definitely go and check out Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel. If you have not already, go and check it out.
Thank you. Just crossed over 300 the other day.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
And that's pretty good, especially because there's a couple of videos that are going to be coming out towards the end of the month and into next March. I've kind of been taking the whole start of 2021 off, so be able to still get some people watching the older ones getting some subs is going to be nice. So,
oh yeah,
kind of gives me an incentive to get going again. If there's people, commenting and this and that, it makes me want to do it even more.
He's got a lot of fun stuff over there, and if y'all can't tell by the conversation pieces that he's throwing on tonight, this man is very well spoken. I think one of the great things that you did, I think, was definitely the breaking down the Firefly trilogy, talking about that.
Thank you. Yeah,
very very well done. It's like I could see this man doing a 90-minute presentation like that. Just very very well read.
It's like a documentary almost. Like I always kind of said that, like those videos that, especially like in the earlier days before I was like on camera, it was almost like, remember the old like E True Hollywood Studio show, E True Hollywood Stories?
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got on that. It was like I could see this being like a 45, 90-minute thing on fucking A&E or something.
Yeah, I try to do good with it, and try to just have fun editing, because that's my favorite part of all of it, is once I get everything filmed and the editing.
Right.
I think maybe that's why Romero, like I always kind of gravitated towards Romero, because he said that was his favorite part of filmmaking was editing. When everything's already done, everything's already in the can, then you can have, make your coffee and go have fun with it.
Yep. And like the editing is when you really see it coming to life too, and I could see where that's really the fun of a lot of it.
And I have to show here my Romero inspired shirt, kind of. This is from Creepshow 2.
Oh,
the hitchhiker guy.
That is
for the
nice.
bride lady.
Yeah. True confession time. I have not seen Creepshow 2.
Oh, you've seen the first one?
Second confession.
Oh my gosh.
I have
this man Creepshow 1 and 2.
I have not, but I've been meaning to, but there's other ones that I had like slated for reviews, so it kind of cuts into my watch time.
Watch 1, watch 2, and don't watch 3. 3 basically got the rights to the name and then released one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh, they did that.
Yes. It's terrible. It might be the worst that I've ever seen.
It's like,
and that's not an exaggeration. Like I believe that.
Like it makes, like the way you described it, it kind of makes a lot of those direct-to-video Hellraisers look like good ideas.
Yep.
And some of those weren't too bad for as bad as they could be.
Hellraiser box.
Again, great tattoo idea. I told him a while back, what you should have done was have it in all the different stages and see some crazy shit maybe happen.
Yeah, I'm a big Hellraiser fan. I think I like some of the later sequels more than most people, but some of them are terrible.
Like five is one of my favorites for Hellraiser. Inferno. I
Yeah,
fucking
I
adore
like
that one.
Hellseeker also because I really like having Kirsty back, even if it was only for a bit.
Yeah,
The ones I really didn't like, I really didn't like Hellworld at all. That was bad, and then I really hated Revelations too. That was really bad.
Yeah,
that
Revelation.
was shot because they had like not even 2 months to make the movie, or they'd lose the rights to the franchise. So they just like came together with like 300 grand and had to write a script, film everything, and have it out within like a month and a half.
So at least they made that one knowing that they were making a Hellraiser film.
Yeah, and then same thing with the latest one too, Judgment, which is actually really good. I really enjoyed that. That's like
I heard that was kind of the redeemer.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie just in general, but then I think of it even more highly when you compare it to the last few before it. So,
right. Yeah, Hellworld. I find
Beanie stuff, man.
The fucking effects again are just freaking great, and they're about to just start getting a whole lot.
Oh, you know what? I just noticed when they showed above there, they had kind of makeshift gravestones. And
yes,
there was about 5 or 6 crosses, and then 1 Jewish star.
Yeah, I saw that too, and that was the first time I noticed that. It's like I never caught that
because we don't get. There's not enough love for the Jewish folks, so that's nice that Romero threw that in there. Very nice.
Oh yeah.
And you know what, Miguel, his one act of bravery, sacrificing himself to lure the zombies away, so Laurie and the crew, or Sarah and the crew, sorry, can kind of get out.
That's fucking badass moment there.
That moment there, to me, was reminiscent of like Flyboy in Dawn.
Yeah.
Kind of his way. Look at that neck rip. This is really good stuff by the Savini people. Look at that.
God, using your dying bit of energy to just
luring them all down just to take care of and kill Rhodes. At the end of the day, who gets the last laugh, right?
Exactly. And here's where Rhodes turns into a Saturday morning / video game villain.
Yeah, he becomes a big puss bag.
Like I always find the villain running from the final bit of brutality and getting their just desserts when they run like this. It reminds me of a video game boss who knows that you're about to beat the game.
Yes,
that's what it reminds me of every time. The whole running. Okay, go to the driving to the next checkpoint.
I think the fucking golf cart is great, and he leaves all of his friends.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, like, he's such a bitch, right?
It's like, what was that you were saying earlier, Rhodes? Those are my men. What are they now? What are they to you now, Rhodes? What a motherfucker.
Yep. Not exactly riding with much speed here. The golf cart.
You gotta love that though, the way he just hits.
Man, you know what? If you guys in the chat or watching this video afterwards have never seen this, is your first time kind of having a little bit of fun with it, what you're gonna see here is some of the best shit. Like Romero, like all the cool gore that we've seen so far, like he's saving the best for last.
Oh yeah.
And this is Bub really getting pissed because he sees essentially like his father. And you can see he's mad.
Yeah, Bub has a fucking arc in this film.
Yep.
Albeit a small one.
He's learned enough. As annoying as Dr. Frankenstein could be, he was right in his observation on this.
Oh yeah. God, you can feel the devastation here.
Big time. The zombies definitely look more. Yeah, they all look like, instead of kind of having like little blue, little gray, they're definitely more detailed than this.
Oh yeah.
They're still not like the actual look of the zombies in the face don't look maybe as good as some of the stuff you might see now, but the effects. Look at this, and watch how he screams as they rip the head off. The pitch of his voice.
Hear the fucking windpipe and trachea getting distorted just a little bit, and
love his jaw is still moving. Like, ugh. And I think that the way these guys handle getting attacked and killed is much better than like the bikers in Dawn, who are taking their blood pressure while they're surrounded by zombies. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, you know you're gonna get killed. Like, so stupid. Like, these guys are handling it probably how you really would, right?
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%, man.
Like, he's totally lost it here. Oh boy. The eye. Watch his eye here. Oh yeah. Look at that.
Fucking hell, man. Like that last bit hurts to watch. Like watching the fingers get bitten off there.
Oh, the eye is gone. And you know what though? Like each one is like, it just gets worse.
Right. I love Steel here. He's not backing down.
Not at all.
He's a freaking badass. I can only imagine what he would do if he had a chance to interact with Rhodes one last time here.
Oh, I think he would have shot Rhodes right in the head.
Aiden loves the blood pressure scene. It's something straight out of Survival. Would you agree with that statement, Robbie?
The blood pressure
from Dawn?
There's a couple of scenes in Survival that are a little goofy. I don't know if I'd go that far in it. Survival's a weird flick.
Yeah,
I think I want to like Survival more than I do.
Yeah, there's like that's kind of how. I can't think of something where it's like I really want to like it, but I can't.
Yeah,
I've
had a couple of girlfriends like that. I'm sure a couple of girlfriends of mine have felt the same.
Right. It's like, you want to love me.
I know. It's just,
why can't you?
Oh boy, look at that. Here it comes, folks. He knows what's coming. He's seen all his friends die this way, right?
Oh yeah.
So Steel has a pride. So instead of letting them take it, he'll just take matters in his own hands.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's been a complete asshole, he still did the cross. Look at that great shot. Oh, he still did that.
I do find, like, for all his problems as a human being in this film, I find him, again, one of the more redeemable of the soldiers.
Yeah, I mean, and if there was any of those soldiers you would want to have on your side, it would be Steel.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think so, Aiden.
See how they look like daisies?
I missed that. It might show it again.
If you see it again, they did look like little daisy flowers. The the bullets, the shots,
Real quick, I want to say that one of the first zombies that was coming into the little experiment room when Steel was in there.
Yeah,
it kind of looked like if Sean Penn and Jennifer Grey had a baby together.
Oh boy!
Like I just saw that dumb Sean Penn smirk on one of the zombies' faces. Like that could not have been Sean Penn, but it looks like him. It's got the Jennifer Grey hair too, so it's like
I know a lot of
interesting.
there's been like a lot of random people who've had like cameos in Romero stuff as zombies. I'm pretty sure like the mailman in Mr. Rogers was in one as a zombie in one of these movies.
Oh wow, that's some next level shit right there.
Yeah.
I want to love my soul to take, but it's just a funny misfire.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember it being fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Like I think I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. My Soul to Take is one of is Craven's last movie, I think, before Scream 4. And here comes the big one, folks. The showdown.
Shit. It's like he was pointing a gun at you earlier, showing knowledge of how to use it.
Yep.
You're really going to take the chance that he doesn't have a loaded one right now. You know who I really feel like Captain Rhodes would have gotten along with, though?
Who's that?
Is Dr. Cruz from Friday
Nightmare 7.
7.
Yeah. Weekend at Bernie's.
Yep.
I didn't even know that until many years later. I never picked up on it.
I feel their characters would get along.
Who was a bigger asshole, Bad News Cruz or the shitty uncle in Jason Takes Manhattan? Probably Bad News Cruz, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was like a real piece. Well, I don't know. Like, the shitty uncle would have let her like die.
Yeah, it's
in the lake.
It's
where Bad News Cruz is like, I don't know. They're both really terrible people.
Like Cruz was exploitive. Like he was getting ready to exploit Tina and make bank off of her.
Yeah.
Where Uncle Charles was just a really unkind uncle.
Yeah. And Charles wanted to just smash that one chick who had the biology experiment.
Oh yeah.
He was like, dude, I want to, but I'm going to lose my job and go to prison. But look, that's the iconic shot of, this is Joe Pilato totally overacting, but it works. And okay, this is what we have to talk about here. Remember I told you I'd save this bit of info? We have a great salute here by Bub. That's his big fuck you. Mm-hmm. And you'll see here the masterwork of Mr. Tom Savini in The Attack. A couple things I want to point out with this, okay? As we get to it. I want you to look closely as they rip apart. Here it is. See that right there as he's lifting it? That's a rubber chicken.
Wow.
That was a rubber chicken that they ripped out. Choke on him. What happened during this scene, all the blood and guts that they used were real, like blood and guts from like a butcher. Okay? And they put all the blood and guts in a refrigerator unit in this mine shaft. Somehow the refrigerator, days earlier, got unplugged. So all of this meat was rancid.
Oh,
so when they had to have cologne and English leather and like all these coverings over their face before they would hit action. And poor Joe Pilato was the one who had it worse than all, because he's in he's basically under a floorboard and it's a fake stomach and body and all that. Right. He can't even move. He can't even cover it with his face. So once they said cut, he was still stuck.
It's like, get me the fuck out of here.
Terrible. So those are the things, man. The unplugged refrigerator smelling like God knows what, and the rubber chicken that was in there.
The rubber chicken I find is actually like the funniest bit there, because I know bad meat is a horrible smell. I've smelled meat gone bad. I've smelled
and in large numbers
refrigerators.
Too. Yeah.
Like in that, what I've smelled was just a small 2-pound fucking pack of beef or something.
So you can imagine.
It's like take that and add it by like 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
And then boom, she wakes up. We are saved.
That's a set of little fake out dream sequence jump scares that I don't mind.
Yeah, it's done in a way here where it works.
And that one in the beginning too, it gets me every time because I'm always thinking that, oh no, it's later in the movie.
Yeah.
So every time it happens, it's like, oh yeah, that's what we open up with.
But I love it here. And this is another one of those things like with Romero that we talked about, Ending of Dawn, where Romero doesn't like to make everything perfect and nice and happy at the end. So even though some of our protagonists survive, it doesn't mean everything is nice. She lost her boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever. And okay, so we're looking at it here just so that opening sequence was done on Halloween or the day after. So all this happened within 4 days, which I guess I never really even put together.
Same.
but yeah, so her husband is dead. One of the other good friends is dead. Rhodes and all of them are gone, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's almost like they have to completely start over on this island. Right. So we'll see. Until next time, in the world of Romero, I guess. Now, we didn't get a Romero zombie film in the 90s. Horror was down in the 90s. Not saying there was all bad horror movies, because you bring it up, you say 90s wasn't a really good decade, and they go, well, what about this movie? Stop it. Horror movies, from the boom and the success that it had in the 80s, was so drastically less in the 1990s.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't mean there wasn't good horror movies. Silence of the Lambs won an Oscar in the 1990s, and we had movies like Seven. Scream came out, and that on the back half kind of rejuvenated those films. Oh, Wes Craven's, of course. But that the boom and the fun of crazy 80s horror really took a hit. I think part of it was the MPAA was really cracking down. So so many of the films that were getting rented and enjoyed in the 80s they were relying solely on big old titties and gore and guts. And when you remove a lot of that stuff, those movies don't have anything left. A movie like Romero's movies still have stuff to unpack, but a lot of movies that were popular in the 80s getting rented off the shelves were kind of the stick figure movies, I would call them, very surface level.
Oh yeah.
So it hurt. And also too, after a whole decade, people just get tired.
Yeah.
They're burnt out, man.
Definitely I hate to say it, but it's the honest truth, is there was a great deal of oversaturation.
Yes.
Which really hit the subgenres and the blanket genre horror.
Yeah.
Pretty hard.
Yes.
But yeah, when people think horror too in the 80s, like slasher is of course where everybody's mind goes to, because that was the one that really dominated the 80s circuit. And with so many just coming out, I don't think anybody can really pin a number how many exactly came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I'd say well over 500, maybe close to 1,000.
Oh, they're getting poured out over, of course, yeah.
But there was certainly a great deal of oversaturation where with the 90s, it's like, okay, we need something new. There was some good cerebral shit coming out in the 90s, but
it wasn't in large numbers that were dominating the market and dominating conversation with fans.
I was like,
that's part of the reason why when Scream came out in '96, it was like a shot in the arm, because we hadn't had that for a while.
Right.
And every generation is going to go through its ups and you're going to have ups and downs in every decade, and new fans are going to see it. And things are a little different now because it started with the internet through the late 90s and into the 2000s, but what really changed everything was social media. Before it was primarily like we were able to like look stuff up and share it with our friends on our fucking AIM buddy list on AOL. But unless you were on like obscure message boards and like really deep diving on shit, like this information wasn't getting tossed around that much. Now with social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, everything's getting thrown around and circulating so much easier. Especially when it comes to nostalgia. That's why nostalgia is so popular now, because it's at your fingertips to experience this shit. Like I could talk to people who, okay, here's a good example. Like in 2 days, I'm going on Chris's channel, right? I think Chris is what? I think Chris is like in his mid-20s.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than I am, so like mid to late 20s.
Okay, and I'm gonna be on there with Destiny, and I think she's 21, maybe 22.
Yeah.
So and like her, for example, like she's like super into like 80s horror, and she gets into the cool like retro shit, like the VHS stuff. So like I could sit there and like have a great combo with her, and we could talk about all this crazy stuff. And it's because of social media that she could sit there and talk to me and actually know what she's talking about. Like for me, like I lived through that shit. Like I went to the fucking video store. Like I remember even before Blockbuster came into my town, like we went to the local video store and got our fucking shit, you know? Like, so I lived through that. So it's so awesome to see people who are a little bit younger who didn't live through it, be able to experience it and be able to like watch it as it's brand new. And that's 100% because of like social media stuff. Like if there wasn't any Facebook and killer flicks and hashtags on Twitter, a large portion of the fan base that's now would have no idea about any of this shit unless they went into the garage and found their parents' old VCR and whatever. But like not like clearly not at the same numbers.
See, like that's why I'm glad I grew up when I did, because I caught just the tail end of the video stores. Because I was born in '95. We still would go to the video stores. I remember quite vividly.
Yes,
and there. Dude, it was one of my favorite things. Like, I would just sit in the horror section, and I wouldn't always be able to get the one that I wanted, but I remember seeing so many fun covers, and that's what I think really helped propel me into the horror fandom, was just going through there. Because, like, you walk through the action, you see some cool covers, but you start walking through the horror section, and the covers grab you in a way that the other ones didn't.
Big time.
It's like, sure, the covers of Rambo 3, that looks interesting. Got Stallone just firing a fucking machine gun.
Yeah, but like, like, you know, Shopping Mall and Cheerleader Massacre and Slumber Party and Evil Dead, right?
Like, one that really stood out though in the horror one for me was Night of the Demons 2. It was 2 or 3 when you got Angela with the little cup with the freaking straw and the eyeballs. Like, well, that looks interesting. Like, I'd seen the first one, and it was news to me that there were sequels. Like, what? There's more than just one Night of the Demons?
Yeah.
I love that first Night of the Demons, and I enjoy 2 and 3 also, but they gradually decline in value, I find.
What about the regular Demons movies? Do you ever get into those?
I have yet to check those out.
Pretty cool. Fun stuff. Argento produced.
Yeah, that was it Umberto Bava who directed that one?
Yeah, it's Mario Bava's son.
The
first one takes place in the movie theater, where they come out of the movie.
Yeah, that one I've seen people talk about on Killer Flicks.
The second one takes place like in an apartment high rise, and they come out of the TV.
That sounds like a great commentary on to the home video age.
Yeah, man, they had a few films tried to do that. Like you also had like The Video Dead, which is pretty terrible, but it was a cool case, and you know, for what it was, it's like literally like they would come out of the TV from the VHS tape.
And I think like Shocker and Videodrome also kind of
a little
bit.
Yeah, Shocker would go through like the airwaves. He was like electric because he died on death row of the being electrocuted, and he turned into the electricity. Video David Cronenberg, so that's like a whole totally different thing. But also it's not a horror movie. But remember, Stay Tuned with John Ritter.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
So he buys this isn't like probably 1990, I guess. He buys a satellite dish from a repair guy who's I believe it's Don Rickles, I think.
Oh fuck yeah.
Don Rickles or no, the guy on the Andy Griffith Show. Who's the
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts. Yeah, Don Rickles, the heavy guy. Yeah, Don Knotts, I believe. And he has got the remote control, but all the stations on this satellite are all fucked up. Like you'll see like Wayne's World, but they're like it's like called like Wayne's Underworld, and they're dead. And he literally gets sucked into all these shows, and he goes into like a pro wrestling show. They try to kill him. And it's like and they have to. Him and his wife have to jump from show to show and survive. It's almost like surviving like a video game level.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's an episode where they go and it's like a Three's Company's knockoff, which is really funny because John Ritter was in Three's Company.
Yeah.
And like they're all like dead or something. It's like so funny.
You said this one's called Stay Tuned?
Stay tuned. Yeah. Even just watch the trailer or something, bro. I'm telling you. Yeah.
That is going on the watch list.
And it's weird. It's not a horror movie. It's a comedy, but it's a very dark comedy. And there's some like I remember on the Dwayne's Underworld segment where they literally like, oh, we got a hot poker in the eye camera, and he's literally got a hot poker. It looks like he's gonna come right in and shove it into John Ritter's eye, and like,
holy fuck, man.
Yeah, that's not stuff that you would necessarily see now. The world's just different now, and for a long time, I was resistant to that, and I didn't like change, and I would just blame everything on political correctness and write everything off as everyone's a bitch, everyone's too sensitive, they're all babies, and this and that. And I think in some instances that argument is still valid, but I think in a lot of ways, I think the way society has kind of shifted in general and with film, I think in some ways it's also a good thing. I think everything you can't paint a blanket over everything, because when I see a situation where somebody says something stupid, and okay, here's a great example. Okay, the lady, the MMA fighter who was on The Mandalorian, Gina.
Okay, yeah, I forget her name, but yeah, okay. I know the one you're talking about.
She had been like kind of posted a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, and no one really said anything, or you'd hear people say anything, but nothing was done about it. And then she put up something where it kind of compared treating kind of right-wing folks as like Jews in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that post.
Yeah, and then Disney was like, "You're done. We got to cut you loose." And the backlash from people who were upset about it were saying, "Well, this is ridiculous. This is cancel culture. This is just another example of society being soft. What about her First Amendment rights?" And I don't want to go on a tangent here, but so I'll wrap it up. But
right,
you gotta understand that she doesn't have a First Amendment right not to be fired by a private company that is worried about their image more than one employee.
Right. It's one of those situations. Like, I remember my initial reaction to hearing that was initially I was taken aback, but then thinking about it, it's like you kind of got to look at it from multiple angles here. It's like, sure, what she said was kind of stupid, but she's in her legal right to say that. But you got to get that Disney, they, like you said, they have an image that they're looking.
Yeah, I mean, the First Amendment and the First Amendment rights protect you from being prosecuted by the United States government.
It's like
it has nothing to do with a private company. You know, exactly. You can't so theoretically she can say anything she wants. Anybody can say the nastiest stuff, and you don't think that they should get shit canned from their job. Like, no, like
it's like your job is not, unless you work for the federal government, your job can fire you for that.
Yeah. So going back to the whole societal thing, like, so you have to watch what you say a little bit more. Some people might be more sensitive, but I think maybe now there's more people speaking out, so more people feel comfortable speaking out and saying things.
Right.
But maybe before, when we were living, you know, a lot of these movies were coming out, maybe there were people who were upset by it, but they didn't feel comfortable that they can say anything, and they just kind of dealt with it. So it's interesting. I love the movies that we had back then. I love the time that it was. I'm happy I was able to live through it. I love a lot of what I'm seeing these days. I'm happy I'm able to kind of. I always tell people, I talk to friends of mine, I said, you know, I graduated high school in '02, and it was a really cool time because I was kind of that last generation that went through all through high school where nobody had a cell phone. No one got phones till we got to college. So I kind of lived through that pre-internet, pre-social media, but then was still young enough to experience all that stuff. You know, it's not like my dad at 60-something years old who's just figuring out Instagram. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
So it's cool to be able to have kind of a dual perspective. And listen, we have a million streaming services. We have Blu-rays, DVDs, VHSs that we're getting on Amazon and eBay and whatever's left of Walmart and Target and the thrift stores, which we know and love. So we could always dip back in that time machine, in that time capsule, and experience it. And if anybody else loves that nostalgia, man, there's so much cool stuff on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Just watching interviews and news broadcasts. I just sometimes go back and just watch commercials from the 1980s and the 1990s.
I find myself doing that too, man.
Man, I had my kids watch some of that stuff, and it's just a different world, but it's fun. The 1980s were a cool time. This was a great movie to do, and I'm really excited to tackle Land of the Dead next week. I think it's a great way to kind of cap off Feb Romero, and it's been a blast, brother. This has been so much fun, and these movies go by so fast when we do these.
Yeah, it's like I know watching these two alone, like especially these last two that we've done, Day and Dawn, by themselves, watching them alone without the interaction of somebody else and a chat to keep everything flowing, you feel the time in the movie sometimes. Like sometimes it goes by quick, but really these last 2 weeks, these films went by quicker than I feel they ever have.
I don't think that's gonna change with Land next week.
Yeah, like fucking the thing about Land for me is that one feels like it goes by the quickest.
Yeah,
So
I'm actually gonna check on the runtime. It might be as just a little longer than Night. Night was just a little over an hour and a half. So let's see, Land of the Dead here.
Real quick, just wanted to say hey to Horror Man. Thank you for coming by, brother. It's part of the Super Slash Bros. Enjoy checking them out. So it's cool to see you over here, man. Really appreciate that.
Land of the Dead, 97 minutes, the same time as Night.
Okay, yeah.
There's a rated R cut. There's an uncut version. Uncut obviously is the one I kind of default to. Not much different, I think.
Yeah, I gotta double check real quick which one I got for that.
I'm pretty sure you probably have the unrated.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's see, widescreen. Yep, unrated director's cut. Thank all things.
Yeah, that is not. I don't think there's that much of a difference in it, but obviously it's enough of a difference that they released 2 cuts.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get movies that are kind of like the director's cut, and there's only a few changes, but hey man, you talk about director's cut. That's going to be completely different is Justice League.
Yeah, that one I see people have been for the last couple of years, and especially over the last couple months, and even greater now the last couple of days.
Dude,
I'm losing their fucking minds.
I love all DC. I love all like comic book stuff in general, and I love a lot of the cool Marvel stuff. I love the X-Men stuff. I actually like the X-Men universe stuff more than the MCU. I'm not saying that the movies are better, but I just like it better.
Right.
But I'm a huge, like, on the whole in general, like I'm more of a DC guy as far as like I read DC comics. I love the Batman animated series and all the DC animated movies. I have the Nightwing tattoo can we see? I don't even know.
Here, what we'll do here is enlarge.
There we go.
See that, folks?
Yeah.
Gotta turn your heads a little bit.
There we go. The Nightwing there. So when I saw Justice League with my son, and I liked it. I thought people hated it. I thought it was fine, but it definitely has issues, and it definitely felt like two different tones, which makes sense because it's two different directors. So
Right.
this is going to be a much more structured version. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. It would have been cool to see it in the theater, but shit, man, I'm in my little bedroom and I got a 55-inch TV. So what the hell? Like, I'll be fine. I'm sure a lot of us will.
I think I can't speak for everyone, but I think a few of us have made some imaginary friends over the last year now.
Yeah.
There are definitely people who do not exist, but take up a good portion of my time and get me through. Because why not? I'm an adult. Let me do what I gotta do.
Exactly.
All kidding aside, it's we've definitely learned to make do over the last year on how to keep ourselves entertained.
Exactly. It was a hard year. I'm hoping this year is going to get a little bit better. All we got to do is keep pushing forward. But you know what? Things like this, like you're doing, these streams that you have, and you do multiple times a week, right? You do these.
Yeah.
And all your other regular content on your channel, and a lot of everyone else kind of pumping out stuff. It really, I think, I don't think people give that type of stuff enough credit for getting all of us through this crazy ass time. It's the interaction that we have is really nice.
Yeah, no, over the last year, a lot.
It's crazy because you feel like you make friends even though we haven't seen each other in person, but I consider you a friend.
Right. It's like, like one thing I've thought too is like, imagine meeting these people that you've interacted with for the first time. It's like, it would be one of those. It'd be one of those moments, like see the other person across the room, and there would be like that little magic spark there, like.
Yeah.
We've never met in real life, but I feel like I've known you better than I know my next door neighbor.
Exactly. You're right.
But I could just imagine it's like it feels magical, but now that I know you in person, this just feels really awkward.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Hey man, there's times where. Quick story. Okay. And I'm not above putting myself in a humiliating situation. I'm fine. This was during the MySpace days. So I want to put this in maybe 05. Something like that. I was meeting girls on MySpace left and right.
Right.
I lived on the beach in Long Island. I'm 21. I just got, I've battled weight all my life. I've fluctuated, and this was during a good time when it was summertime, tanned out, feeling good, young. And I met a girl on MySpace, and we, chatted the night before, and and got on the phone. There was no texting really that much, and so one thing leads to another. You get a little hanky panky until 2, 3 in the morning on the phone. We go to meet the next day, and I'm thinking, wow, she's gonna come over. My mom was gone. Just had a house for myself.
Right.
We're gonna have a good time. I meet this girl, and I knew right away when I saw the look on her face, because I'm like 5'8.5", 5'9", something like that. She probably was like a good 5'10". She looked at me like I was 4 feet, and we kind of hung out. I was like, "You still want to like come inside?" She's like, I was like, "Why don't we just walk to the beach?" I knew that shit was gonna be awkward as fuck. And we walked down to the beach, and we maybe hung out for not even a half hour. And I was like, you can just go home. Like, this is not really working. And she was really attractive, but just very tall. And I couldn't get into it, but like, it was more like she was looking at me like I was a midget.
Oh man.
And it was probably only an inch or two difference in height.
Yeah, that's
But I will never forget walking back to my house. I saw coming down the street walking was a kid that was a friend of mine, but he was kind of a little bit of a douche, you know.
right.
And I said, listen, I said, I know things. I told her as I saw him in the distance. I said, listen, I know you're not into it. I know we're not going to fool around. I said, can you do me one favor though, just one favor? And she's like, okay, what? I said, this guy walking up here is a douchebag, right? But if he sees me holding your hand or being with you, that's gonna look real good on me. Can you at least? I'm not asking you to sleep with me. I'm not asking you for. Can you at least just hold my hand and let me put my arm around you as I walk by this kid and give him a smirk? He goes, yeah, that's fine. So I put my, I kind of put my arm around her or I held her hand out, one of the two, and he walked by and he goes, "Hey, Rob," and I'm like. And just walked on by and he was gone. She got in her car, left, and never talked to her again. But it's just one of those things where you meet prior, but then when you meet in person,
It's like, oh,
yeah, I have stories and a half, man.
dude,
Like,
that is very entertaining to hear that.
all right, we have time for one more?
I think we could squeeze one more in there.
One more story. Okay, so this is, I want to put this one in July of 2004 because I dated a girl literally the day I got out of high school, June 26, 2002, and she dumped me 2 weeks before our 2-year anniversary because she was going away to school and she wasn't feeling it anymore. And I had gotten very fat. I had gained like 50 pounds in 2 years. I gained a lot of weight. It was no more hanging out with the guys, no more playing basketball, no more wrestling, no more riding my bike. It was going on a bus to college and going on a date and eating popcorn in the theater. And you just get fat. So anyway, so I was kind of heavy and I just wasn't really feeling that great. And I hopped on MySpace. This is the start of it. So meet this one girl, right? And we end up chatting. And she tells me that she's throwing a house party. Her and her friends, big party. And I said, shit, that's what I need. So I need to get around people, talk to some girls, and unwind, blah, 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 blah. So I tell 2 of my friends about it.
Right.
And we drive over to this party. And the girl there that I meet looked nothing like her pictures.
Oh, fuck.
She was, she was like a warthog. It's terrible. I'm sorry. Just listen. And I'm admitting that I wasn't, I was not at my best at that time.
Right.
I probably wasn't a complete, I mean, it was tough. I mean, she probably dolled up was like maybe a 4.
Ooh, fuck, that's rough.
4. I mean, do I want to say a 5? Will I be nice enough and say 5? We'll give her a 5, all right?
If I may interject real quick, just for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
Could you use Ethel's line of "You weren't so pretty yourself, you know"?
Yeah, exactly. You ain't so pretty yourself, you know. There you go. So, and I'm thinking, well, this one's not gonna work because I might be in a low point, but I ain't that fucking low.
Right.
So we end up going. I remember we end up drinking Coronas. A big party. Everyone's having fun. Blah 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 blah. And I remember doing a couple of shots, and I'm feeling it. And then we go to play beer pong. And I'll never forget, I had jean shorts with a black tank top, like a wife beater tank, and like a short sleeve button down, like Hawaiian shirt or something.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know. That's 2004. Even then, it was probably terrible, but maybe it was better then. And we're playing beer pong, and I'll never forget that I'm talking massive shit as I got drunk. And I had mentioned to you earlier that I used to do the backyard wrestling with my friends, and the character that I played was a very obnoxious, egotistical, my shit that don't stink. I can, I'll take your girl and make her forget about you type of guy. That was the character. But when I got drunk especially during this time, I almost became the character.
Oh, fuck.
So when you play beer pong, you talk shit anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm talking shit to this girl that I'm playing against, and I'll never forget it. White little spaghetti strap, right? I think that's what they call them. shirt, right? Pink cotton skirt, blonde hair, solid 9 out of 10. Easy as can be. And we're talking shit, blah, blah, blah. And I had one more to go. And I told her, I said, paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact words clearly, but it was like, I got this. You only wish you could have me, and watch, if I sink this, you'll be with me tonight. Like, because I'm just like,
right. You're becoming.
She's like, you wish you would never sink that. And I just looked her dead in the eyes, not at the ball, not at the cup, and it went right in.
Dude.
And she came up to me like, you're lucky, blah, blah. And I'll never forget. I did something that, listen, I'm not proud of this, and I probably shouldn't even admit it, but she got into my face, and I remember just going and smacking her, grabbing her right on her butt. And yeah, terrible, right? But then she was totally justified. Boom, catches me right in the face.
Oh,
I deserved every goddamn second of that slap. I found out later on that she was fine. She was just, she was fine with it. They thought it was just funny. But I got smacked. And then I remember vaguely being on the couch after that and having Warthog sit next to me.
Oh, fuck.
And then I don't remember too much about what happened after that until I ended up in another room, kind of laying on a bed with this girl who was totally ready to pass out, reminded me of like a skeleton. She was so like, just very very bad news. And then I remember my friends going, we gotta go. The cops are here. So at this point, this is 04, so I'm 20. So I'm not even 21 yet. And these are like 2 or 3 years younger. They were like 19, 18, whatever. So my friend grabs me in his white Mitsubishi, was it an Eclipse or something? So whatever it was stick shift. And that's important. I got a buddy of mine sitting in the back. He's driving, I'm in the passenger seat. And we're coming out of the neighborhood. And I go, dude, you got to stop because I'm going to throw up. So he stopped. Especially, I've overdrank. And he's in a stick. And in a rush.
Right.
So he pulls over and I throw up. Okay. So we're kind of pulling out here towards the end of the neighborhood. And I go, you got to stop again. I got to throw up. So he pulls over the second time as we're about to leave the neighborhood. Second time throw up.
Oh, fuck.
Now we're onto the parkway. Okay. And I go, you got to stop. I got to throw up. He goes, I'm on the fucking parkway, man. I can't stop in the park. It's not like in the neighborhood. And so you want to know what happened?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, fuck.
Right in the shirt. All in the shirt. All in the shirt. It's terrible. It's awful. I remember getting home and both of my friends carrying me into my house, and my mother opened it and going, is he drunk? And they're like, what the fuck do you think? They just threw me in my bedroom. And that wasn't the worst of it, because the next night we ended up going to a local bar in town. I don't know why this is amazing I don't even have these stories. I don't even drink really anymore. I've had 3 alcoholic drinks since the summer of 2019.
Oh, wow.
I just don't do it. I just don't do it.
Congrats, though, man.
Yeah, I just don't think about it very much. But back then, he's having some fun. So this was, I think we had gone to either a bar or a party. It probably was we either got into the bar illegally with a scratched off ID, because they didn't have the scans back then. You'd be able to chalk your date on your ID and give it to them.
Right.
But I remember that girl calling me up and sending me messages. And what was interesting is I woke up and on my neck, I had all these hickeys. And I thought maybe I got with the blonde girl.
Oh, shit.
Which would have been great score.
Right.
That would have been a high quality, top-notch get. What happened was when I was on the couch with Warthog, in front of her couch was a desk with her computer, with her working webcam, and she sent me the video that she recorded of her making out with me and giving me hickeys all over my neck.
God damn.
So not only did I get smacked by the hot girl, I hooked up with Warthog. And I threw up all over myself. And almost got caught by the cops.
Oh my God, man. That sounds like the roughest fucking weekend ever.
The only one that might have been a little worse is when I was, I think somehow something happened where I got dumped. It happened a lot over the years now I think about it. I've done my fair share of dumping, but the other way around is worse. That I remember getting so shit bombed. And this is back the last time I tried to wear an earring. I was on the beach with a friend of mine who was in the Marines, but he had just been back for whatever, you know. And the next day I was supposed to go with him to take a test to join the Marines. Not that I would join the fucking Marines, because I'd be like Bill Murray in Stripes if I ever joined the Marines.
Right.
But if I even went and got interviewed, he got the whole day off and still got pay, and we could hang out.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, so he was supposed to get me. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I got so shit bombed that he smacked me so hard to try to sober me up the night before that my earring fell off and never found it. Never put an earring in my ear again. He had to carry me from the beach to my house, and then at 8 o'clock in the morning, the door knocking on the door. He's there with his officer, and he's like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, terrible." So I somehow, with the worst fucking hangover, am in the back of this military car to drive to take a test to go to the fucking Marines. And the guy knew I was full of shit too. He's like, "You really don't want to join the Marines, do you?" And I was like, "Well, I want to keep all my options open." And he looked at me like I was an asshole. I was hungover as shit. And just to show you how easy it is to at least be accepted. I'm not talking about going through like basic training, because you got to be in fucking shape. And these folks really, I'm talking about like they really, are in great shape and more about fantastic. But I'm just talking about who they let in. I was hungover as fuck and didn't even know what day it was, and I somehow passed this test. But I never went back and did the follow up.
Right. Oh man, that's
I have a lot of stories, but we'll end on that note. I don't care about looking stupid. It's all entertainment. It's all fun. It was all, almost 20 years ago at this point, 15, 20 years ago. So,
God damn.
These are the memories, man. And this is just what we did. So, I don't know how we got into these stories, but, I'll tell them.
Yeah, I don't remember what sparked it, but
I don't know who else you're going to have on your live streams who are going to tell these stories. So maybe that's good.
Yeah, it's always fun conversation. I always find a way. I don't know how, but I always find a way to veer the conversation off track. I don't know what it is.
That's fine with me. If there's anybody even paying attention and watching, there you go. There's a few stories for you.
Damn right. And maybe Robby can write a book about these one day.
Maybe I will. That'll be great. Maybe we'll just do live streams where we just talk about old stupid shit.
Shooting shit with
Robby Sobel.
That sounds like fun, man.
That's it. We'll keep that over.
But yeah, that was a great watch party, guys.
A great watch party. Yep. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, man, for Dan, for putting all this shit together.
Absolutely.
You're doing all that legwork on your side. It's much appreciated. You do a fantastic job, not just with this, but with everything that you put together.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I only do what I can, man.
You're killing it, brother. Keep it up, and we'll do it again next week.
Absolutely. Stay tuned next week, everybody, for Land of the Dead. But please don't stay on this broadcast for a whole week. You will not be able to watch anything else if you do that. So I advise you to, after we're done, hit that like button one more time if you haven't already.
Share.
That's the big thing.
Sharing is caring.
And if you haven't already, I hate to ask this, but it is getting to the point where asking is not enough. I'm telling you to stab that subscribe button, folks. It's greatly appreciated. And go on over to Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel. The link is in the description, which is down here somewhere. Don't want to cut into the screen and pull it out, but it's there. Go check him out. Give him a sub. Give him likes, shares. He's got killer content. Very well spoken also, so it's good listening. But on that note, you all have a great night. Thank you for joining us. We will see you in the land of the dead next week.